Hello, Animal Messages with Julie. Hi. I just saw there she is. She's right behind Patrick. CJ. Hi, sweetie. CJ. Where's that voice coming from, huh? It's Talkie Lady. Yeah, it's Talkie Lady. So how are you doing today, CJ? Much help? Much help for you, or you're doing much help? I'm doing much help. Oh, awesome. I'm doing much help. Yeah, should I show you what I worked on today? Okay, we have this thing. So we have the end of life services. So I posted some of these. Is that what you're talking about, CJ? Because we're finding that 50% of the animals are not completely leaving their body. So I had a client and we went back through all of her pets and it just kept running and running and running and running and running. The exit stage left. And so what I'm finding is that not everybody completely leaves their body. So that's a new service that working on. CJ's chewing on, oh, they're numbing. I love that. They're numbing that. They're numbing on each other, Farley and CJ. That's a gentle form of it, people. They're not fighting. They love that right here. They love how that feels right here. And the other one loves how it feels on their jaw, because their jaws are a big part of their enjoyment of life. So Farley's got a bandana on. That still is on from last week. So Patrick, tell us, what groomer did you go to?
We go to Pooch Palace in West Bend.
Pooch Palace in West Bend, Wisconsin. Do you know which groomer helped you?
I think it was Tannen. I think her name is Tannen. I think that's what her name is, Tannen.
Tannen? Do you know her name, Farley? Nope. Pretty lady, though. Farley said pretty lady. What about the cat? You were telling us there was a cat there last week. Yep, cat got shaved. He said, yep, cat got shaved. The cat got shaved. Well, it's getting warm out in the United States. So yeah, it's time those long-haired cats, if they like to be shaved, they can be trimmed and be a little cooler. And I'm not saying it to all the cats. Some cats love it and some cats hate it. So I don't know, we can ask them individually. So for those of you just tuning in, if this is the first YouTube that you're watching, the animals call me Talkie Lady. I work with animals. My name is Julie Evans. It's 3-part. So here we go. I'm an empath, so I feel what they feel. And then I hear them in English. So we have a conversation, right? I hit my head. That's how that started happening. And then the animal and I negotiate. Plus I've got 500 body processes available to me. I trained to work on human bodies, and now I use all that training to work on the animals' bodies. So there's, there's a counseling session and a healing session, similar to Reiki, if you've experienced Reiki, except now this is all for the animals. Okay, so there you go. And what I was talking about before is the end of life services that we're doing. And I do trauma clearing, as well as just talking with your animals so they get along better in the house. The dogs will do anything for the pack, but they, like humans, will forget. So in the moment, they will forget what they've agreed upon previously. So they also need to be reminded, because they're, mammals like us, they forget in the moment. So the new habits take a while to take effect. But the animals have very little judgment, very little to no judgment, or the word why. So these techniques work so much better with animals than with humans. They actually take longer with humans, because humans want to know why something or how something works, whereas the animal is just like, it works. So they don't care how or why. They're just like, boop, I like it, let's go with it. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about today Coyotes. um, Coyotes or coyotes, right? They are in the canine family. So are wolves, so are foxes. Okay. Coyotes are in all of the 48 states, United States. Okay. They're very adaptable, which is why they're in the desert, they're in the mountains, they're in wetlands, they're everywhere. Now, their bodies will have litters to the size of how much food is available. So that's what I want to get out there is some view the coyotes as a nuisance animal because they sometimes will kill and eat chickens. Of course, they'll kill and eat birds, fowls, cats, your domestic cat. Although they don't want your domestic cat because it doesn't taste very good. They would rather have a rabbit that's been eating off of grasses. They'd rather have a wild mouse that's been eating off of grasses. So they will breed according to how much food is available. So if you want to control their population, you control their food source. The deer, the rabbits, the mice, the rodents. So they control our rodent population. So without them, we have an issue with rodents. Okay, so there's that whole balance. We do require them, and they're very good about staying out of our way. We don't even know they're there in our cities until these days. And the reason I'm saying is these days, it's June 2nd, 2022. They've had puppies. Okay, so the alpha male and alpha female of the pack, they're the breeding couple. They get to breed within the pack. And normally the rest of the pack doesn't breed that. So like I said, their bodies and the pack controls the population according to the food source. You want to lower the coyote population, you lower their food source. Okay. So now they're tired because they have puppies. So they're not thinking straight. So sometimes you'll see them because they're just exhausted. Normally they see you first and then they hide because they have no interest in you as a human. And they're really good about staying away from the domestic dogs. I had them in my backyard at a previous location and I counted the domestic dogs. There were 22 domestic dogs around me. And some people will just let out their dogs to go pee at 10 o'clock at night and then call them back in. And this mating pair just left them alone. They have no interest because they're also dogs. Coyote is a dog, a K-9. Farley's a dog. There's not an issue between the two, except if Farley were to get close to a den right now, then there'd be an issue. Then the coyote may kill Farley. Same as us. Somebody tries to get into our house, we're going to take care of it, right? So that's what's going on. And most of us humans in the cities and even in the parks don't realize that literally 5 feet away could be a den because they're so good at hiding and kind of being right there. And they'll be in city parks. So just like have the when you're walking with them, I know, so that the domestic dog doesn't get into a row with a coyote. Just be aware that they're exhausted right now. But also they want nothing to do with you either. And they don't want you near their den. So if you were to see them, just back up. Just don't continue on your hike. Just freaking back up, because if you do see them, you might be getting close to their den. Don't continue walking that direction. Back up and turn around. Yeah, they're also the Native Americans, a certain group of Native Americans call them God's dog. And they could be heard this week yipping to each other. And I says, I bet that was a male and a female, because one will stay home with the pups and the other one has to go out and catch food. And I bet it was like, are you back yet? I'm exhausted. I'm hungry. Are you getting back here? And for those of you that shoot them and think you're lowering the population, you're not. It's just a temporary dent. And in fact, what that does, if you have shot an alpha male or an alpha female, You have now destabilized the pack. So now you get the naughty behavior that you don't want in the community, like they're killing somebody's pet because they have it, because now the pups haven't been properly raised by the pack, because the pack becomes destabilized and they maybe go off on their own to a different territory. So shooting them isn't the answer. Shooting the deer, the rabbits, the mice, keeping the rodent population down, that's the answer. Okay. All right. And I know, yeah. And I know people think that, oh, they ate my little dog. They will not eat your little dog. They will kill it if it's too close to the den. But they don't have any interest in eating one of their own. More than likely what happens when little dogs disappear is it's a prey bird that'll come down and grab a tiny dog, like a 3 or 4 pound little dog. More than likely when your little dog disappears, it's a prey bird out there, but we blame it on the coyotes. And I first saw mine out in Tehachapi, which is 4,000 feet up in the Mojave Desert. And I was sitting in the lawn chair out back, and he just walked within 10 feet of me, but he sauntered. And I was like, oh, because I had been fed all of that information too about how they entice your domestic dog to come back to their pack and then they kill it and eat it. No, that's in a book, but it's fantasy. They have no interest in your domestic dog. Your domestic dog smells because they don't eat fresh food. They're not interested in your domestic dog. I have seen a video where in the desert, the coyote was playing with the domestic dog. They were both playing, like, in the driveway. And that's a little interesting. But since then, I've seen a lot more. And I oftentimes have an agreement with them. I'll stay on the cement and you stay on the grass on the other side of the creek. And then that's what we had at my last place. And I could hear them, so I could talk with them too. So I'd say, thank you for leaving the domestic dogs alone. And they said to me, we are one. And I was like, oh. And then I asked about that, and it's because they're both dogs. So they're not going to go after the domestic dogs. Anyway, that's my getting on my soap stand for the coyotes out there, all of them. And I had a full-length coyote coat that was from Western Coyotes in the United States. And it had 18 pelts. So I'm not against furs. I'm not like that, but I'm just saying that killing them just to keep the population down. No, if you're going to kill them for fur, if you're going to, that's a whole nother thing. They are God's dog. The fur is nice. Okay. Anyway, do you have any comments, Patrick?
Oh, that was very interesting. I didn't know that about coyotes.
And I got a whole book.
I kind of thought the way other people did, that coyotes would just attack your dog for no reason.
Yeah, no, there's a reason. Yeah, they're too close to the den. And most of the time it's people that are off, the dogs are off leash. And the domestic dog is like, what, curious or something, or and they overstep the boundaries, the domestic dog. Or it's a hike. They're on a leash and you're taking a hike, and the coyote has made their den really close to the trail, or you went off the trail, which we're not supposed to do also. So it's usually, as with domestic dogs, it's usually a human issue versus an animal issue. Yeah. So
interesting. Good to know.
Good to know. Look at, they're so relaxed.
Yeah, they're chilling.
Look, he's so relaxed, Farley. And CJ.
He's getting a bad belly rub right now. See?
Yeah, but so is CJ. CJ's relaxed on top of the couch. Yes, you, honey.
See,
you.
She heard her name.
Yeah. Hi, CJ. Hi, honey. You're sleeping? Okay. She said, I sleep. She said, I sleep now. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yep. End of life. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Nope. And I'm still looking for cooling mats. They keep they're 10 degrees lower than the room temperature. So I had them for my little dogs, and I bought them at a store called Aldi, which is a grocery store. Um, and now mine are all gone because they get dirty and we move, and anyway, but I'm still a cooling mat, if you can find it, is great because your dog only has sweat glands on the paw pads and the nose and the mouth. So they don't have sweat glands on the rest of the body or the armpits or any of that. So they get pretty warm when we're warm. When we're comfortable, a lot of the dog breeds are warm.
Yeah.
So we're still looking for those cooling mats. They have a gel inside them. So anybody that sees this, if you want to put it in the messages, if you found them, great. I imagine they weren't termed essential, so they didn't get made.
So have you looked on Amazon?
I don't know if I did. I know I put them in as cooling mats somewhere on some animal website, whether it was horse.com or PetSmart or something, and they didn't show up. But like I said, they were at the grocery store, so I bought 3 of them. The grocery store called Aldi, and that was 5 years ago. So I know they exist. I just have to locate them and get the proper name. Maybe cooling mat is not the proper name. I forget. Anyway, so if search for those for your dogs, to keep them cool in the warm weather. And I just laid it on the floor. You can lay it in their bed. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now. Bye.